I can say it. You're not allowed to say this. You have to be nicer. Sue their off.
He's like fully Jewish now, I think, you know, like he's just like, it's all of the Israelis.
It's not sue if your feelings are hurt. It's sue if people defame you and lie about you and falsely accuse you of crimes with no evidence. We're going to check in with Candyland. I know, I'm sorry to do it again so soon, but there's just so much going on in the world of Candace Owens. And this one is not actually funny. It's actually pretty messed up. She just kind of, in my view, I mean, you could say that she did this some time ago, but she went mask off anti-Semite. You really, after the clip that I'm going to show you a little bit into this video, I don't know how anybody can claim that Candace Owens is not anti-Semitic, that she is not anti-Jewish, not anti-Israel, which is, in my view, very different. I totally understand people who are anti-Israel and have all sorts of views, but anti-Semitic, because she really did go there. She really did go mask off in the clip. But first, I just got to give you a little bit of context. So the context to this story is that President Trump just saw Erica Kirk in person at an event, and kind of while he was up there saw her in Rift and told her that she should sue some of the people who are lying about her and defaming her. And this clip was kind of misconstrued. So, for example, we talked about this on the show, but the comedian who spoofed Erica Kirk, Drewski, who dressed up like her and made fun of her, everybody is interpreting this clip of Trump and suggesting that he told Erica Kirk to sue the comedian. And I actually don't see that. So, for example, like this was shared by the like the what is it called? HQ, or it's like the former Kamala account, and the caption is Trump tells Erica Kirk to sue Drewski, and then it attaches his quote. But he actually never says in the attached quote, he never says Drewski, and I don't think that's who he's referring to. Here's that quote, and then we'll get into Candace's reaction to all of this, because it does involve her as well, where I believe she just went mask off anti-Semite. But anyway, here's this clip of Trump talking to Erica Kirk. Listen to this.
A thing called Happy Easter. Do we have that? Everyone happy? Anybody that doesn't want, hello, darling. Wow, this is a good table. I like that table. You're doing well, right? Okay. I think you should sue him, but, you know, I told her, you ought to sue somebody. They're so jealous of Erica. I said, you ought to sue their... I can say it. You're not allowed to say this. You have to be nicer. Sue their off.
So to me, it's pretty obvious that Trump was referring to the people who have accused Erica Kirk of horrific crimes and defamed her, like Candace Owens, who has suggested repeatedly that Erica Kirk was in on the murder or cover-up of the murder of her own husband, and other crazy conspiracists that I've covered on this show who have like lied and suggested totally baselessly that she worked for Epstein to traffic girls, and other horrific, slanderous, obviously defamatory, in my opinion, commentary and suggestions about Erica Kirk. I don't think he was referring to the comedian Drewski making fun of Erica Kirk, but that was the spin that everyone put on it immediately, saying like Trump tells Erica Kirk to sue Drewski. He never mentions Drewski, and I don't know. I mean, I guess it's possible that's who he was talking about, but I really interpret him, and y'all know I'm the furthest thing from like somebody who's just going to blindly support everything Trump comes out of his mouth, but it's like I interpreted him as talking about the Candace Owenses of the world, the people slandering Erica Kirk and lying about her and spitting all these insane conspiracies and saying she should sue them. And it's like, yeah, she should sue them. She probably is suing them. That's why she has already taken steps that suggest she's going to sue them, like sending them cease and desist, like putting them on notice about certain things. Like those are the things you do to set up a lawsuit. And I think she will ultimately. I obviously have no knowledge that she will, but I can speculate that I think she will sue Candace Owens, and I think she'll win. I think she will win because I do believe Candace has operated with pretty reckless disregard for the truth when it comes to Erica Kirk and the things she has claimed and promoted that have been debunked or fallen apart or have no basis. And it's really, I think, a horrific way to treat somebody, especially the widow and the mother of the children of your supposed dear friend. But I don't get why this clip of Trump saying this blew up so much. Like, this immediately became a whole thing, and Candace obviously immediately responded to it. She assumed it was about her, which, in fairness, I think it is clearly about her. But she also pushed this notion that, again, I just don't see any evidence of, that he was talking about Drewski, the comedian. And that doesn't make sense, because whatever you think of the Drewski skit making fun of Erica Kirk, he doesn't accuse her of any crimes or anything, and it's clear satire and parody, so it would be protected. She couldn't sue him. There's no way to sue somebody for making fun of you. That's not illegal. That's not defamation. It's not slander. You can sue someone if they falsely accuse you of crimes and operate with reckless disregard for the truth to millions of people, and they actively lead a financial boycott campaign against your organization and cause you tons of money and lost donations. That's actually pretty good grounds for a lawsuit, especially when that person, and we covered this, was under a non-disparagement agreement at the time for part of this because of their past relationship and financial involvement with your organization. Then it's super easy to sue them, in fact. But so Candace, here's the thumbnail from her clip that she posted about this. It's Candace, it has Trump, and then it has Drewski in drag as Erica Kirk, and it says sue their off. So again, she's suggesting that Trump said Erica should sue Drewski, which is just not true, I don't think. That's nowhere in the clip, and I haven't seen him suggest that elsewhere. But here is where Candace discusses it. Here's a clip of her discussing it, and I don't know, this just seems to me to be straight up anti-Semitism. Listen to this.
Today, they had their little Easter celebration. Erica Kirk was in attendance, and he told her he should sue people that are making fun of her because they're jealous of her. It's like, how?
Well, pause. He didn't say that she should sue people who are making fun of her. Making fun of someone's not illegal, right? It isn't defamation. He's saying she should sue people who are lying about her and falsely accusing her of insane, horrific crimes, like you, Candace. You're not just making fun of Erica Kirk. You've literally accused her of being involved in the murder or cover-up of her husband. Other people have accused her of being involved with Jeffrey Epstein. Like, this isn't just making fun of someone. It's an obvious red flag that you're being dishonest when you frame it that way. Anyway, here's where we're about to get to the blatantly anti-Semitic part.
It's like how far they fall, how far they fall. He's like fully Jewish now, I think, like he's just like, it's all of the Israelis. Sue if your feelings are hurt, sue.
It's not sue if your feelings are hurt. It's sue if people defame you and lie about you and falsely accuse you of crimes with no evidence. But anyway, she just went mask off. She's just like, haha, those shifty Jews sue people a lot. Oh, that's not exactly helping you beat the anti-Semitism allegations, Candace, that you're now calling people Jewish if they sue you. And it's not a joke, okay? Listen, I'm okay with edgy humor. I'm okay with joking about all groups of people, including Jews. But especially when you are a serious political commentator who has distanced yourself from Israel and gone on the warpath against Bibi Netanyahu and all these people, you really do, in my view, have an obligation to firmly make it clear that you're not against the Jewish people, that you're not a bigot or an anti-Semite, you're just against Israel, and that you need to draw a clear distinction between those two. But when you start casually conflating Jews and Israel like this and suggesting that people who behave in a certain malicious way you feel are Jewish or becoming fully Jewish, that's just disgusting bigotry. It's just like, if that's not anti-Semitism, I don't really know what would be under, like, at that point. You if you're not willing to call that anti-Semitism, then I'm not sure what you would be willing to. And I get that a lot of Jewish people have harshly criticized her and she might feel defensive, but that's not an excuse to embrace like religious bigotry or ethnic hatred or nasty stereotypes, especially with like anti-Semitism, of all the things, is one of the most, like, the stakes are high, right? Very, very bad and dark things has been done to the Jewish people because of anti-Semitism. It's not like just, making fun of a certain group and like, haha, or just like stereotypes about gingers, or like gingers have no soul, or like whatever. There's some groups of people where you can joke about where it's like, all right, well, gingers were never holocausted, right? Like there's no hate crimes against gingers. It's just something that I don't play with. I am entirely open-minded to anti-Israel viewpoints, but I notice this again and again, these people that bleed into the anti-Semitism, and I have no tolerance for that, and I won't be gaslit that Candace isn't anti-Semitic, she's just anti-Israel, and then she talks like this. And then she goes on some of the other past rantings and ravings. And if you are somebody who's anti-Israel, that should actually bother you more than anything, because it discredits the position and the movement when it's high profile figures like this are also anti-Semitic. And again, all of it's rested on this absurd, farcical notion that like, I can't be sued for any of this. And it's funny too, because Candace has also sued people. So she acts like she really does just gaslight and shapeshift to no end, because Candace has made all of these claims. She has claimed that the lack of a lawsuit is proof that she's right, but she's also claimed that only guilty people sue. So those two things can't go together if you think, right? If your brain actually has firing synapses, right? Because obviously, if only guilty people sue, then, but also people who don't sue are guilty, then everyone is just always guilty whether they sue or not. So that, which obviously isn't true. And she herself has sued people. Like it's just crazy. It just shows you that she, I don't know, she's like the human epitome of moving goalposts, right? Like the analogy is, I think, football, where they're kicking the extra point or the field goal, but somebody's picked up the goalposts and is like moving them as you're trying to kick them, where you can't pin her down because she just changes and shape shifts and evolves, and then has the audacity to say like Jewish people are the shifty ones that sue people because they hurt their feelings. You literally sued people for discrimination. Candace Owens, you did that. Like, I don't know what to tell you. That's crazy, diabolical even, but I just find this gross. I think this should be something that causes people to wake up and realize that if they're still fans of Candace, like, wait a second, she really is like just against Jewish people, and that's not right, but I'm not sure it will. And just like the obvious mischaracterizations, like she played the clip I showed you on her show and then described it as Trump saying to sue people who make fun of you. How, if you're a critical thinking person, you're watching along on her show, do you not realize that that's not what the clip says? I don't know, man. Every time we check in on Candyland, I get depressed about the state of our country and the world. I'm going to read a few comments from members. So if you want me to consider reading your comment, do become a channel member. Anyway, one person writes, I don't get the hate for Piers, referring to Piers Morgan, who we talked about yesterday. Yeah, it gets crazy sometimes, but that's kind of the point. He'll actually have debates on there, not just people agreeing with each other, and he does push back. I completely agree. Like, I would much rather have a messy and chaotic show where people actually debate and argue than a calm show where people just all agree with each other and it's just a total echo chamber. So yes, it's messy and it's dramatic, and I think it's a bit much, and he could reel it in sometimes, but I think he's doing something important and necessary, and that a lot of the people who criticize him are doing something much worse by just being in echo chambers that radicalize and misinform people. Another person says, yes, I think it's wildly gross to accept an invitation to speak on someone's show only to turn around and crap on said show and the host. Like, just be respectful and talk afterwards. I think it's fine to go on someone's show and challenge them for their opinion or their coverage. But I think the problem that I have is that if you're saying the show itself is like evil and harmful and bad, yet you are also choosing to participate and personally profit off of it, that seems hypocritical to me, you know? Anyway, this other comment pushed back on my take on Piers in an interesting way. Somebody wrote, I'm completely perplexed by the idea that it's not okay to go on a show and then criticize its host or the show itself. What would be the argument for that? I'm extra confused that Brad has a problem with both Josh Hammer's decision to go on Piers' show and criticize it, and with Ben Shapiro's decision to not go on the show anymore due to his low opinion of it. So what are the options left that Brad would be okay with? I can only think of going on the show and pretending you think the show is fine when you actually don't. To me, that's the only one of these three options that I would take issue with. What am I missing? So I think this is interesting pushback, and I'll try to explain my position here a little bit. The problem that I had with Ben Shapiro's approach is that he was willing to go on the show. He had no problem with it that he viewed as like immoral, or I won't participate, or it's beneath me, when he agreed with Piers, even though it was the same messy and chaotic show about Israel. And he was willing to go on and promote his show, and promote his books and everything. And then just once Piers's opinions changed, all of a sudden, Ben decided the show itself was too lowbrow for him. It was Jerry Springer. That's the problem I had. If from the beginning he'd said, I won't go on Piers Morgan, that show's a circus, it's beneath me, okay, fair enough. But it's like you only adopted that after it no longer suited you and you didn't want your views challenged by Piers. When he was agreeing with you, it was fine. But then when he started challenging your views, then all of a sudden you decided you were too good for it. That's the problem I have with Ben Shapiro's stance. Now with Josh Hammer, the problem I have with him is that he's saying the show is harmful while actively going on it to promote himself in his book. And he's saying it's brain rotting. I'm saying, like, if you think it's bad, then don't go on it. And consistently say it's a bad show, it's harmful for society, and I won't participate in it. And if you hold that view consistently, that's fine. That's your opinion. You're entitled to it, and you're living up to that standard. But if you're going to go on the show, you should probably at least think it's not like literally rotting people's brain. You don't have to think it's amazing and agree with every aspect of its production, but if you think it's like genuinely terrible for the country and the discourse, you shouldn't personally profit off of it by hawking your book and your podcast on there. I feel like I understand that those ideas seem somewhat at tension, but I actually do think there's a line that could be drawn there. I don't know. Do you guys get what I'm saying, or am I mixed up in my own head with this? Personally, anyway, obviously I am pretty sympathetic to Piers, and I mean, I agree with some of the criticisms of certain guests that he has or episodes, but I generally appreciate the work that he is doing. You guys, let me know what you think in the comments, especially members. I'll consider reading some of your comments on air, and we'll leave it there for this episode of the Brad versus Everyone podcast. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll talk again real soon.